Hi guys, it might seem a little darker here because it's like 5:15, but I wanted to get this video out. This is part 1 of the Baby Cotton Kisses Blanket Make-Along. I had promised I would have it out on the 3rd, and today is the 5th. So life happened. And now life happened again today, so that's why there's shadows. But anyway, this is the first part, and I hope it gets you started. I hope you like this make-along. Don't forget to post your yarn that you're going to use and your makes and stuff in my Facebook page or Facebook group. So I'm going to hurry and get this video posted and enjoy part 1. Thank you. Okay, so here's our pattern, and I'm assuming by now that you printed it out, and the link is going to be below in the video. So you can see it's by the Crochet Crowd, and the designer was Jeanne. Now, again, I'm using the Red Heart yarns. I'm using white, light blue, and frost green. So the first thing you have to determine, whichever yarns you use, is which is color A, which is color B, and which is color C. So that's what I've done here. Now, I read on the Crochet Crowd's website where this pattern is, that Jeanne is working on a worsted weight or number 4 version of this pattern, where this is a number 3 version using a G hook. And in her worsted weight version, she's using number 4 yarn, of course, and an I hook. So that's what I'm using. Now, this pattern over here, I've already decided that color A is white. We'll be looking at these stitches patterns and abbreviations as we go along. So I wrote down that white is my color A. And I did some calculations, and instead of using the numbers for the 3 weight yarn, I created and I counted. Okay, so I did some recalculations, and I decided that I would chain 147. Over here is the stitch multiple, which is 16 chains plus 18. Now, with this type of blanket, which is considered like a chevron, it takes more stitches to get from point A to point B, because if we look at this, most blankets we do straight across, but with this type of blanket, you have the extra stitches in between. So you have to kind of do a multiple. I don't want my blanket to be very much bigger than 36 inches. On row 1, it says to do 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Now, when I do tutorials and when I read patterns, I follow the punctuation. So the first thing I would do is to do those 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook and then stop. Come to my pattern and see what I do next, and then stop at the next punctuation point. So then we have a comma here, and that way when you're reading the pattern, you're not overwhelmed. You just do that one section at a time. The asterisk means that we go back to it and we repeat, but we're going to cover that as we go. So right now I'm going to position my yarn and do those 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Okay. Now I'm going to try to get into camera range and try also to be comfortable, which is always a little hard. Okay, so I have my working yarn, and I need to position my chains. Now, if you have followed the Crochet Crowd and Mikey, he prefers that you turn your chain over and you use this little loop that's in the back. See the loop right there, and right there, and right there, rather than doing it in the chain. So you do it whichever way that you would like. I'm going to go ahead and turn my chain over and go into the loop. So it says the second chain from the hook, which would be this first loop here. Now it usually takes a little bit longer to get underneath that loop, but it says to do 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So the chain that's on the hook does not count, and then you go in the second one. Okay, now I completed that. So now our pattern says, I have to figure out which is the best way to prop this up. Now it says 1 single crochet in the next 6 chains. Okay, so in my case, I'm just flipping it over. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in each of the next 6. So there's 1, and see, it's a little harder to get underneath these loops. So I think what I'm going to do is do my 6 off camera. There's number 2. Because it's depending on how tightly you chained. But if you can see, that's number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And see, of course, it's easier to do it on the top chain, but it gives you a more finished look if you go to that loop in the back. So there are your 6 single crochets. Okay, so I have my 6 single crochets. Now it says single crochet 3 together over the next 3 chains. Okay, now single crochet 3 together. In our directions here, there's the abbreviation, single crochet 3 together. She doesn't have the steps on how to do it, so I'm going to show you. Okay, so what you do to single crochet 3 together, you pull up 3 loops on your hook. Okay. Okay, so what you're going to do, I just got a text message. What you're going to do is you're going to go in that next loop and pull up a loop. Go in the next stitch, pull up another loop, go in the next stitch, and pull up a loop. Okay, so that means you have 4 loops on your hook. You yarn over and pull through all 4 loops, and that's how you single crochet 3 together. Next it says 1 single crochet in the next 6 chains, and then 3 single crochets in the next chain. So let's do 1 single crochet in the next 6. Okay, so it looks like we are already making a peak. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to do 1 single crochet in each of the next 6. So as you can see, it's harder to get in the loops when you go in this back loop on the back, but I'm showing you hopefully another way that you can do this. So that was number 2. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now it says 3 single crochets in the next chain. So that's what we're going to do. So here's the next chain loop. So I'm going to go under there and I'm going to single crochet 3 stitches, 3 single crochets in this one stitch. So there's 1, 2, and the third one. Okay, now our pattern says to repeat that. Repeat from the asterisk until 16 chains remain. That's what that stands for, remain. And if you look over here on the right, REM says remain. So, if you need to rewind the video, go back, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 6. We're going to repeat the 3 single crochets together over the next 3 stitches. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 6 chains and then do 3 single crochets in the next chain. So rewind the video if you need to, refer to your pattern, and I'll get back with you. Okay, so after you have completed your final valley or peak, you should have 7 stitches after that. So that's what the stitch marker is, and you should have 7 stitches. If you have more stitches, you just need 7 to end the row. And then the pattern says to single crochet in the next 6 and then 2 single crochets in the last chain. So that's where 7 comes in, because you finish your last peak or valley, and see, then you have to have 7. See, that's what they wrote here. And you do 6 singles, and then you do 2 in that last stitch. So that's how you end row 1. Now for row 2, it says to chain 3, and that counts as a double crochet here and throughout. Then we're going to double crochet in the same stitch. So just like we had 2 stitches at the end of row 1, we're going to have 2 stitches in the first stitch as we do turn. Then it says 6 double crochets in the next 6 stitches. So let's do that. Okay. So it says to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then it says to do a double crochet in that same stitch. So that means down here at the bottom. So we're going to double crochet in that stitch and then double crochet in the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, whoop, 3, Okay, so I have 2 here, and then now I have 4. 5 and number 6. Okay, now it says 3 double crochets together over the next 3 stitches. Sorry about that. 3 double crochet over the next 3 stitches. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, yarn over. I'm going to take this stitch marker out because that was what I used to mark my last valley. Okay, so we're going to take the next 3 stitches and double crochet them together. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to do 1, pull through and stop. I don't know why the camera's going in and out. 2 and stop. And can you believe that? See if I can get it to stop doing that. And 3. You have 4 loops on your hook and you pull all 3. Pull through all 3 loops. Then it says to 1 double crochet in the next 6 and then 3 double crochets in the next stitch. And what that is we're just repeating row 1. Instead of doing single crochets, we're doing double crochets. Okay, so now we're going to do 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so see our little valley. So now it says 3 double crochets in the next stitch. Okay, so the next stitch is right there. So we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then I want to take a look at our work here. Okay, I need a little more yarn. Okay, now if you take a look at what you have here, we've got the 3 together, and if you kind of eyeball it, that's right over, the center one is right over our other valley. And then this, it'll be easier to see when we do double crochets. This stitch here is our 3 singles together. Okay, and so, no, our 3 singles in the same space. So then if we move over and we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these, the center one here is the stitch that was the 3 together in the last row is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and so the center one should be coming right over that. Okay, now, and then like on this one here, I'm going to see how we have 3 together. I'm going to go ahead and just mark that, and then I'll see if my stitch ends up in that one after I count it. So let's see. We do 3 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And see, right there is the center one of our other peak, and that's where it's going to line up, and that's how you know you're doing it in the right spot. Okay, now if you didn't get that, see what I did was I did it in the top of this one, and you'll be able to see it better when, you know, we're doing double crochets because the stitches are bigger. But see, there's where we did it together, the 3 and 1. So now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're going to be doing 3 together, so that would be 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then right in the center of the 3 together, 3 double crochets in the same stitch is where 3 double crochets in the chain stitch goes again. Okay, so basically we're going to be going down to the last 7 stitches. Now this says double crochet 3 together, something. It said 16 until 16 stitches remain. I'm not really going by that. I'm more going with this 7. Okay, when you get your last peak or valley done, because it depends on how many stitches you have, if it's going to be a peak or a valley. But after you get your last peak or valley done, you should have 7 stitches at the end of the row. And on this row would be 6 doubles and then 2 doubles in the last stitch. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'll meet you back at the end of row 2, and we'll be adding our next color of yarn, which according to the pattern is B, and B in my case is the light blue. Thank you. Okay, we're at the end of row 2, and we need to start row 3. So row 3, it says to attach your color B. And in my case, color B is light blue. So I have my light blue right here. Okay. Now, I finished this last double, but I need to join my new color. So I have completed the last, in this last stitch, it calls for 2 double crochets. And so there's the 2 double crochets. So before I finish the second one, I need to add my new color. So I take and I put the new color behind, drop the other working yarn, and pull the new color through those last 2, and that completes the joining of the color. Now it says to do a standing single crochet. A standing single crochet, it says form a slip knot and insert onto the hook. insert hook into stitch, yarn over and pull through loop, pull loop through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So let's figure this out. Insert, says to insert, pull up a loop, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. And so we've got to keep this loop open. There's our standing one, and then there's our first single crochet. So now we have 2 single crochets in that first stitch. Okay, and then we have to do 6 single crochets. And then we're going to do 3 single crochets together. So we're going to be working on our peak. Okay, so what have we got? We've got 2 in the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is number 6. And then we're going to take these 3 stitches here and single crochet those 3 together. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then in the top, or the third one, we do 3 single crochets in that. So you finish that row, and you do 2 single crochets in the last stitch. So it's just like actually row 1. So I'll meet you back.